I was only 10 years old when the goat came into our lives. I didn't understand much back then, just enough to know that Ogbuefi Maduka was a man you didn't question. He was feared even more than the Dibia. His voice could silence a courtyard, and the very sight of his red cap made grown men straighten up. My mother, Amaka, was a widow, and we had no land of our own. So when Ogbuefi offered to let me stay in his compound to help with chores and learn farming, she sent me there with prayers and palm oil on my forehead. At first, I was afraid of everything: the noise of the compound, the big dogs that barked at night, the strange hush that came over the wives when Ogbuefi entered. But it was the goat, the black one with sharp eyes and a strange calm, that made me truly uncomfortable. She was called Onwubiko. From the day I arrived, she would watch me. Not like other goats who just sniffed for food or wandered about chewing. No, this one watched. Sometimes she would sit right outside my small room and bleat softly, like someone humming an old sorrowful tune. No one paid attention to her. Just another goat in a rich man's compound. But I noticed things. I was the one who fed her, after all. I was the one who cleaned the pens and untied the ropes when she got tangled. And I began to realize this goat was too clever. She would disappear for a day and return by herself. She would headbutt the kitchen door when Ogbuefi shouted at his third wife. And once, I swear to you, she nudged my leg when I tried to carry Ogbuefi's whip to him. Then came the night I'll never forget. It was just after the Yam Festival. The compound was quiet, the moon full. I went to the backyard to fetch water from the drum. That's when I heard it. A voice, low and trembling, coming from the goat pen. At first, I thought it was one of the wives, but then I saw her, Onwubiko, standing still, her mouth not moving, but the voice, a woman's voice, was there, like wind coming through dry leaves. They left me in the bush. They broke my bones. The blood was warm and the trees watched. I dropped the bowl. Water spilled across the ground. I ran. I didn't sleep that night. I told Mama the next morning, but she slapped me for lying. I told Ogbuefi's first son, but he laughed. Then, 2 days later, one of the wives came to me whispering. "Did you hear the goat speak?" she asked, eyes wide. I nodded. She had heard it too. Then the second wife. Then the houseboy. The rumors spread like fire in dry season. Some said it was Mami Wata in disguise. Others believed it was a cursed spirit, a chi seeking revenge. It all exploded the day they tried to sell her at Nkwo Market. They tied her legs. I watched with my own eyes as they loaded her into the cart. By evening, as I fetched firewood, I saw her calmly chewing beside the okra patch. I swear, by my ancestors, she had returned. That night, the elders called a meeting. Even the Dibia came. They burned herbs, chanted names, and then the oracle spoke. She remembers. She is no animal, she is memory. When Ogbuefi heard this, he didn't speak for a long time. Then, the next morning, he summoned the village to the square and told the story none of us expected. Long ago, before his wealth and fame, he had loved a woman named Mugbeke. When she got pregnant, he refused to marry her. To hide the shame, he took her deep into the forest and beat her, left her there, left her for the ants and vultures. She was never seen again, until, maybe, she came back as a goat. As he spoke, Onwubiko stood in the middle of the square, silent, eyes fixed on him, like judgment. When he finished, She walked to him, slowly, with purpose, and then lay at his feet. She died right there. People say many things about that day. That a gust of wind circled her body, that the dibia wept, that the sun dimmed for a moment. I remember one thing clearly, how quiet the village was. Even the birds held their tongues. They buried her behind the shrine with full rites, white cloth, kola nuts, and palm oil. Ogbuefi gave away his lands, built a well, and never raised his voice again. I am a grown man now. I live in the city, but when I return to Umuozu and pass the shrine, I leave a leaf or a stone near the grave of Onwubiko, just to show respect. Because I believe even now that memory has a spirit, and some wounds refuse to die silently. Even a goat will remember.